Welcome in, Jonathan Casillas. Boy, Jonathan, I'll tell you, another week of Tommy DeVito doing it against a Belichick defense. I didn't think he was going to perform to that level. He impressed me. What do you think here of DeVito another week watching him play quarterback?
Well, look, he surprised all of us. I think that Commanders game was a huge surprise, scoring 3 touchdowns. And, beating Bill Belichick as an undrafted rookie, he's the first one that ever did that. I think, that's a lot to be said. 10 points is not enough against most teams, but it was last week against the Patriots. So he got the job done, man, and he's 2-0 as a starter, man. So can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys on the postgame show on Sunday. I had to go and do some Christmas, pick up some things for the house for Christmas, whatever. I think you guys were really doing a good job. And the thing that jumped out from what you said is, how impressed you are with his ball security. He's getting hit a million different ways, but he's protecting the football. I know he put one on the turf and he got that one back. But for a kid who's just thrust in there, JC, he's valuing the football, something most young kids don't do.
Yeah, and look, that's something that could be, demoralizing. When you get sacked, that's already a big play for the other team, but losing that ball, man, that's like, that's death. That's really death. You go out there and the momentum's on the other team's side, and it's you got to cause another play to get the momentum back. And for him to secure the ball after losing it, and holding on to it, and basically you're allowing the team to get the ball back instead of them taking it from you.
Yeah,
that's a huge difference in the play. As a defender, we want to take the ball away. The Giants created 9 takeaways in the last 2 weeks, and they're 2-0 in that time. It has a lot to do with protecting the ball and then, of course, taking the football away.
Yeah, and we're talking to Jonathan Casillas here, of course, part of the Giants broadcast team with BT and Sal here on the Fan. We're so fixated, as Jet fans, we do this with Zach and Rodgers. It's always about the quarterback spot. But I think, and I said this to Sal the other day, I'm looking at the shell of this defense, JC. Okerike's been a phenomenal signing. Banks has been terrific. Thibodeau, when he's on, he's really, really good. Dexter Lawrence is a beast. I think you're maybe a draft pick and maybe a mid-level free agent signing away, maybe from having a top 10 defense. Is that crazy?
No, that's not crazy, especially from the body of work that they put together last year and what you're seeing sparingly this year. You're seeing signs of greatness, and you have an elite player on the first level in Dexter Lawrence. Bobby Okereke, man, the year he's putting together, I think he's one of the greatest free agent signings the Giants has ever had. My history doesn't go that deep.
Mm-hmm.
As a lot of guys do. But, this guy is balling out. He's had his hand on maybe 6 or 7 takeaways in terms of forced fumbles, in terms of pass deflections, and he has a couple interceptions of his own. And his teammates didn't block for him last week. He could have had a touchdown.
Yes. Yeah.
If I was him, I'd be pissed off at his fellow linebackers not blocking for him. But the Giants have set up their defense in a way that they have elite players on at least the first 2 levels, and I think Xavier McKinney's a good safety as well. It depends on if they can keep him. But I think you guys are right. A couple pieces away from being a top-tier defense that can consistently keep teams under 20 points.
BT and Sal on the Fan. We're talking with Jonathan Casillas, of course, who does a great job covering the Giants pre- and post-game show on our air. You mentioned Dexter Lawrence last week, Jonathan, of how important he is. I know you just talk about the defense now. Were you surprised that the defense played as well as they did? I know the Patriots stink, but still, defense played as well as they did without Dexter Lawrence.
I'm surprised the team got together and collectively looked as good as they did for the entirety of the game, because even though the Commanders game went very well for the Giants, creating 6 turnovers, Tommy DeVito throwing 3 touchdowns, 2 to Saquon, they haven't really done 4 quarters of football at all in any game. So that was basically an anomaly of a game. They haven't really played that complimentary football. And for them to do it again, and yes, they only scored 10 points, but they took the ball away several times. Tommy DeVito was sacked. He showed that poise, that grit that he showed the week prior, and they ended up getting a win with only allowing 7 points. Look, it's not a lot to take from this season, especially early in the season, but these last 2 weeks, this is a lot to take from this. It's a lot to move forward with. You have a little bit of stability, which hasn't existed for the first couple months of the season for the New York Giants.
Jonathan, I know that everybody's trying to spin this forward positively, and maybe that's the case. Maybe it is okay. Wink and Dabes, where are we at? You got to keep it real. You played. You know what. When somebody says something at a podium, what really is applicable and what's not. It seemed like there was a real fracture there. Everybody going out of the way to say that there's not. What's the story?
I'm not sure, and I don't want to read too much into it because you don't have to be friendly, buddy. We're hanging out on Mondays after the games on Sundays. Like, you don't have to have that type of relationship to have respect for somebody that you work with because they work together, and it is Dayball's team, and Wink Martindale basically goes by what Dayball says, and there's a little bit of power struggle there, and there's been struggle. The defense gave up 600 and something yards to Dallas, 500 yards to Miami. There's times this year where if I was a head coach, my defensive coordinator gave up 600 yards, it might be some explicits thrown that way. So I don't really want to look too much into it because there has been some controversy and without the back and forth, without the arguing but we are human beings. These are all human beings, guys, and they're just communicating, and sometimes it might get out. But I think the respect is there. I don't think any respect is lost from these two men, and I don't think that it's going to fracture their relationship moving forward.
So JC, just to be clear, so if Wink's not back next year, you would be surprised as of now?
I would be surprised for sure.
Gotcha.
And it's not just because of the head coach and defensive coordinator dynamic. I think because Wink Martindale, he has those defenders playing for him. Mm-hmm. When they speak of Wink, they speak highly of him, and they speak doing things for Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale putting them in positions to win, and that's really, really good. And you don't really have that nucleus everywhere, even on defenses that are better or teams that's been around a lot longer than the Giants.
Last one for you, Jonathan. We appreciate your time as always. Enjoy the bye week here. I know you're going to have a nice weekend off for a change. But Joe Shane spoke this week, and you talked about next year as far as the coaches with Dabes and Wink. Well, what about the quarterback? I mean, he seemed to support Daniel Jones, but also left the door wide open for the possibility of drafting a quarterback. How do you see the Giants' quarterback situation playing out next season?
Well, I think what Tommy DeVito done, he's kind of put a little buffer on that panic button that a lot of people were setting this year. When Tyrod and Daniel Jones went down, and it's looking like, oh man, I think the Giants probably going to be picking top 3, but that's not looking like the case anymore. Tommy DeVito has provided some stability for the Giants offense this year, which really hasn't been there no matter who was playing quarterback, whether it was Tyrod or Daniel Jones. But I don't think it takes him out of the equation for drafting a quarterback because there are some talented quarterbacks. And look, when Daniel Jones comes back, yes, he has a knee, but he also had prior injuries that that recurred again. So that's something that you have to take account for as a business move with your starting quarterback because he may not be healthy for week 1. And if he is healthy for week 1, it may be something else that can put him on the shelf. Tommy DeVito, he's proven, I think, that he's going to be a great backup at least in the league. And let's see how he finishes out the rest of the year. And I don't want to look towards the future. I'm just soaking in my Tommy DeVito jersey juice flow right now.
You go get one of those Sandies? You go get a good sandwich or what?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, baby.
The DeVito sandwich, whatever it is, that chicken parm, vodka. Oh, yeah.
The cutlet, baby.
Enjoy some of those on the
Tommy Cutlets, Saquon calls him. That's awesome.
Thank you, Jonathan. We appreciate it. Enjoy the bye week. We'll talk to you when you get back.
All right, fellas. Take care.
Thanks, bud.